today we're diving together into Great League with a line that it's kinda popular for the current meta of Great League, and of course you're gonna see that in no time you can get quick work of your opponent's shields so that the next Pokemon that will come in or return into the battle will absolutely have the upper hand towards whatever remains on your opponent's lines at the back. So having here the Stunfisk up against this Medicham, this is the plan, this is the main strategy that you want to follow. Go aggressively in there with your Stunfisk, most of the times get out of their backline the fighter, so that then you can finish it off with Pelipper and still have no counters at all for your Registeel. This team also works pretty well against Greninja, which is a pretty nice asset since Greninja is almost everywhere right now after its recent community day. So over here, we're just gonna go ahead and bring our Registeel into the fight. Kofa Grigus returns here, and we're just gonna go to town because we're having some nukes to follow on that Pokemon. All we need to do is to land at least one, and they're gonna get super low at the point that we can easily farm down with our Pelipper and still have a lot of play against these Ninetales. I think I'm not gonna block here, just gonna let Shadow Ball go through and still reach to the Focus Blast before fainting. And this amount of HP, I'm pretty sure that Focus Blast will be more than enough to finish them off, and right after I will just overfarm a lot and then perhaps get to the Hurricane straight. Perhaps they're thinking we're gonna go for the bait. No, instead I'm gonna get to the Weather Ball. Totally forgot about this battle. Gonna get the shield and right after the Hurricane. So it all depends on whenever you're gonna bait and they're gonna shield, but still since it happened here, we're just gonna take this victory. It worked towards our advantage after all. Carving up in front is definitely a very bad one for us, and we have to get out of there, but not before we charge up to a Weather Ball. We need that extra energy for the end game for sure. You never know what will happen, and especially how much HP this Carbine will have left. So as it seems here, we're just gonna go in with our Stunfisk, able to draw out the Medicham once again. Seems like everyone is having a fighter at the back, especially a Medicham, which is the best generalist in my opinion, and right after we're gonna go down to this Medi. Hopefully though we got that shield advantage, and now we can definitely rely on our Registeel to finish them off. I was trying to catch a move here, that is not gonna happen at all, and instead I end up getting my shield on the Ice Punch, which is not that great either. So let's see how they want to respond, because I'm definitely expecting the Carbine to come into the battle and they are gonna stay in, which is kinda suspicious. Right after we're just gonna get to the Zap Cannon for some cheap damage on that Pokemon, and in the process I believe that if we can apply that debuff we can have a lot of good results against them. So at the back there is gonna be Altaria, so obviously this is looking pretty good for us. Another debuff applied, this time on the Altaria, and of course all we have to do here is to tank those moves, still reach to the Zap Cannon, and we're gonna have the upper hand. However, I decide to keep that energy for the Carbine, seeing that my switch timer is up and they are still switch locked in here with me. Hurricane is more than enough at this point to finish them off, and we still have the Weather Ball to do some cheap damage and super effective to the Carbine. They can still survive, but to be honest, whatever they throw there can easily be taken, so I'm just gonna do exactly that, and right after respond with a heavy hitting Zap Cannon on the Carbine. And even though we had a very bad lead, very bad switch, and we just managed to win anyways. So into the next one now with the Nidoqueen up in front. You know what, this is kind of a good lead for us. We can still lose if we're not careful with those Poison Fangs, but still I think that one Weather Ball will just put them so low that perhaps with proper shielding we can still finish them off. However, I know that I have to aggressively switch in there with my Stunfisk. To do so, we're just gonna do exactly the immediate switch on our Fisk, trying to draw out the fighter, but as it seems they do not have a fighter. Instead they're gonna have a second poison type, which is kinda unusual to be honest, an ABA team style with a poison, unless they have triple poison as it seems. So I'm just gonna shield here. No, just gonna take the move. That always impresses me. I don't know what I was thinking, perhaps shielding could have been the better choice, but I guess since they had no shields at all, using my shield on the Pelipper makes more sense than ever. Over here, they're gonna try to snipe me down with that Poison Fang, but it will not be enough, and instead we're gonna bring into the fight our Registeel. I'm pretty sure they cannot reach to the Earth Power at this point, so we can easily tank one Poison Fang, and even if they return with the Venusaur, we're super close to the Focus Blast. This is gonna be more than enough to finish this Venusaur at this amount of HP. At the back they have the Pelipper, and obviously this is gonna be a great game for our Double Steel team. Now about the Deoxys, I decide to stay in here with my Pelipper because those counters are just gonna shred apart my backline as well, and I do not like that. Perhaps I will try to catch one move, but this trainer decides to go for the early Psycho Boost and then switch out to their Dugong. That makes me think that whatever there is as their third Pokemon might also be something like a Dugong, something like a Warren for example, so that I can definitely have the upper hand up against them. So at this point they're gonna get to the Drill Run, we can still survive just barely enough with those weird IVs and still reach to the Rock Slide. Unfortunately this is not gonna be the lethal blow, they can still survive, but now Pelipper can go in with its 100% energy stored up. We have one Weather Ball to grab the shield, and right after the Hurricane to obliterate down a nice chunk out of this Deoxys. I have to respect the damage here from the next move. It might be a Thunderbolt after all, but instead they get to the Psycho Boost. So all of a sudden at the back they do not have a Wolverine, but instead an Umbreon. So as it seems here, their plan was to use their Dugong to bait out the Medicham, so then that this Umbreon can have the clear sweep against my team. But as it seems, we have the same strategy over here, so no Medichams at least not emerged at all. So yeah, we're just gonna take this victory eventually, because those Focus Blast, when they're coming back to back, they can definitely destroy down that poor Umbreon. They're trying to catch here on that Deoxys, but to be honest, we know better. Weather Ball to finish it off, and right after we can pressure even more with our Pelipper. Foul Play will almost be enough to finish me down. Of course I can still reach with the Weather Ball, which is not needed at all I believe at this point, because still Registeel is getting super close to the Focus Blast. Even though they're getting very close to another move, I think that we can definitely outspeed to the Focus Blast, and that is gonna be a great game for our Double Steel team once again. So moving forward here, and we're met up with a Deoxys once again up in front. So if they have Thunderbolt, everything might be over pretty early. This Pokemon is very troublesome for our team. So I'm trying here to catch one Thunderbolt. Instead they know their stuff and they're gonna switch out to the Noctowl. So switching a Flyer into Stunfisk obviously might seem like a dumb choice, but for Noctowl they still have a win condition with those Shadow Balls. But unfortunately for them, we have so much energy to spare, and of course we can do exactly that with the falling Rock Slides. You saw that great over there? Yeah, my phone almost fell off my hands. This happens quite often lately, I don't know why. Anyways, fun fact about that. And we're having now this Deoxys turning into the battle. A Rock Slide will not be enough, so we can definitely answer back at them with one final Rock Slide before fainting. Doing so, we're gonna put them at a point that one Hurricane will definitely seal the deal against this Pokemon, and they're gonna shield, so perhaps I could go here for the Weather Ball now that I'm seeing once again their HP limit, but yeah, all that energy was absolutely going to the garbage can, but it doesn't matter, we still have our own trash can at the back waiting for the end game. So as it seems at the back there is gonna be a Stunfisk, which is pretty great for me. I can just go ahead and spam those double Weather Balls, but first I need to catch one Rock Slide. As it seems I cannot do that, but still we can survive one Rock Slide just barely enough, and then respawn with a switch to my Registeel. We are both on 0 energy, and we can definitely win that race to the charge attack, so Focus Blast will just seal the deal against the Fisk as soon as possible. Into the next one now, and we're facing up in front the Chestnut. Finally a very good lead for us, so let's see how this is gonna unfold towards the end game, because this Pokemon can still be troublesome, not only for our backline, which are Double Steel, but also against Pelipper with a simple Frenzy Plant. This Pokemon hits like a truck. So obviously here we're gonna have a very good switch in battle against this Lickitung, and of course we can easily manipulate this battle, because we can simply farm down with this a lot of energy and get out of here with at least one Focus Blast or a Zap Cannon ready to go. Our HP limits are not that high either, so I'm just gonna go ahead and press the zap cannon, I believe, on whatever goes in, and it is gonna be the chestnuts. So I'm hoping for them to shield, but they end up not shielding at all, and we cannot reach to the focus dust. My plan did not work over here. Also, we did not apply the debuff, which is kinda sad, but still we can go ahead and pressure with our Pelipper, this fighting slash grass type Pokemon, which takes double super effective damage from our wing attacks. So at the back they have a Pokemon like Noctowl, so obviously this is looking like a very good battle and matchup for our Fisk, but still we have the shield disadvantage. At this point they're gonna get to the Sky Attack, no, the Shadow Ball. I was counting right now that I was speaking and I was thinking that perhaps that was a Sky Attack, but obviously my commentary here just threw me off the tracks. Anyways, we're having another Rock Slide, this time it will be lethal against this Pokemon, and of course with Chestnut being at the back alone, even though they have the shield, they cannot do anything that can threat me down. So Azumarill for the last one, trainers, and this is looking kinda good, I guess. Not the best, not the worst, kind of an even scenario here, and we're just gonna get to the Hurricane, but first we need to be extremely careful if they're trying to catch a move, because if they can catch the move, perhaps this is gonna be kinda problematic for us, because all that energy will be gone for no reason at all. So over here I will just try to catch the next Ice Beam or Play Rough on my Fisk, because if they do not have Hydro Pump, we can definitely do that with this. And on the switch we're met up with a Trevenant, so this Azumarill now almost have no energy at all, while this Trevenant can do a lot of solid work with a simple Shadow Ball. I realize that, and I know I'm gonna fall down to the next Shadow Claws anyways, so I'm just gonna take the move, since I can know that I can survive here and still go in now with my Pelipper, Shield once, and farm that crucial energy for the end game. We know that they have Azumarill at the back, so what is back there as a third Pokemon? Could it be something like a Ghost type? I'm not sure. Just gonna get here to the bait. They are gonna take it. Pretty good call here by my opponent, and of course it is gonna be the double Ghost with Azumarill up in front. So reading my opponents here might actually give me the win, because we're having the Zap Cannon ready to go. By switching in here with that Sableye, they have switch locked themselves, and right here those Zap Cannons not only are gonna take those shields out of play, but also we can pressure for more debuffs and more shields. Doing so, Pelipper might have actually a very good closing scenario against whatever remains, and as it seems we're just gonna do exactly that. However, our HP limits are kinda low and we have to play accordingly. Hopefully though here we can still reach to the Hurricane, finish off Sableye right on time, and right after I believe that we can resist by a lot those bubbles, so we can have a closing scenario, pretty nice one here for our Pelipper, and that is gonna sum things up for today's video. Thank you for watching, trainers, and for staying till the end. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, and of course consider subscribing to my channel if you want to follow more of my content here on YouTube. Speaking of my content, I have 2 videos for you to check out, so feel free to do so, and I will see you all into the next one.